guys, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Natasha.
And we were wondering,
are you free for coffee?
Welcome.
Oh, guys.
This is a very special episode.
I'm telling myself not to cry, and I suddenly feel like
by now,
flush.
You know that the series finale of Ted Lasso has aired.
Yes.
And we saw it. So we want to do a little review.
And unpacking and...
oh my gosh.
Tears are
First off.
No, I'm not crying.
For all the haters.
Oh, man. Yeah, season 3 was met with a lot of naysayers, a lot of hatred.
Are mean. You're just mean.
You're mean and you missed it.
I loved everything. Now, what was Zava? Zava was a little misstep, a little hiccup.
I like Zava.
But I think they needed to, the whole point of him for me was to later on, it was telling them that you don't need this to win.
Well, that, and if you are a football fan, you don't keep the same teammates year after year after year.
Right.
So they had to have some new faces kind of trickle in.
Connor told me that he was modeled after somebody, like a real person.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it was fine. It was fine. It they didn't have to have it.
Y'all, Lisa doesn't like sports, so forgive her. She missed the whole sports part. I don't know anybody,
but
football themed show.
But Ted Lasso, if you guys have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and watch it. Now you can go back and binge the whole thing. So
yes,
that's
you
great.
can. You can.
But it came at such a pivotal time in our nation's history in the world with COVID and
so much animosity and kind of hatred.
Just meanness.
It was just a hug.
It was this beautiful, warm, friendly show.
Yeah.
That just where everybody was nice. And even though they had trauma and bad things happened,
they worked on it.
It was just lovely. So we highly recommend. But we just want to talk about some things. First off, I was kind of going in order, but this has to come right off. Beard in that thong.
Baby.
Oh,
Brendan, how we love you. Okay, so if you have not seen it, maybe hit pause. We have season 1 of Ted reviewed. We have season 2 of Ted reviewed. So go back to one of the seasons you've watched and then come back and have your coffee with us after you've seen season 3.
Unless you don't mind spoilers.
Unless you don't mind spoilers. So the scene opens, and now mind you guys, in true fashion of Lisa and myself, she watched it ahead of me. Not very far ahead of me, but just maybe 5 hours ahead of me. She got started. So she's telling me, like, I've watched it, OMG. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting the kids in the car. I'm dropping them. I'm about to watch this. This is the thing. And so I'm watching it, and they paint this scene, and your jaw drops because out comes Ted looking a little disheveled. Rebecca looks as poised as she always does.
Both of them are looking the morning after. They're like a morning after glow.
Hard morning after look. And he says, you want to talk about it? And she goes, no, I don't. And she sips her tea, and you think, wait, you guys drugged me for 3 seasons for them to have sex? And then Beard.
And I was wanting them to get together in the first season.
Yeah, she was rooting
like, I got over it. So if y'all are taking me back to that, can I take this?
And then this last episode, how dare you?
Right.
And then out comes Beard in true Beard fashion, y'all, in a crop topish black shirt with a red fire engine red thong on, and he's just all about it. And then you're thinking, wait, what?
What the heck happened here? So you find out they just spent the night there because
there was a gas leak. Yeah.
But so they kind of string you along, but it was so
But baby,
funny.
He wore the hell out of that beard, and I mean that thong, and I just loved
hilarious. It was hilarious. So I just had to get that out there. That was like a highlight.
So
of that
when
episode.
I went to search him for Sexiest Man Alive, just so you know, when you type in Coach Beard, the third thing down on Google is Coach Beard red thong.
Oh.
So I was like,
we were the only ones that enjoyed that.
So everybody looked this up.
But okay, Ted and Rebecca in the stadium when she asked him to stay. That was a highlight for me. It was such a
the emotions felt so genuine.
It was just about friendship and being there for each other.
And when she said, "You already know your answer, don't you?"
Yes, but I had to try.
I had to try.
Ask.
Oh man!
But boy, I teared up with that. That was so good.
And when she said that even if he was the highest paid coach, it still wouldn't be enough money
for what he meant.
For what you mean to Richmond and to me and to the team. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, that was so sad. Oh my gosh, y'all. And Nate. Now we know we hated Nate last year. He just, because Nate had a moment.
He did me wrong. He was my sexiest man alive this week, and then he turned into
like an
evil villain.
Yeah. And he had been so nice, but he was on the road to redemption.
Oh, Nate.
He found himself, and his apology to Ted.
When he was like, I know, you don't have to say it. Just let me say this.
Yes, I just want to
So that was, I think that was the first time I started crying. When that happened, I was like, oh.
It was,
I'm
oh
losing
my God. And Ted, in true Ted fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just so cool.
But the thing was, he had already forgiven him.
He did.
Ted had already forgiven him. So there was no, I mean, you know, what's understood doesn't need to be explained.
Well, and that Ted's graciousness both times, when Rebecca asked him to stay, and then when Nate apologized, it just exudes grace towards people, which is why we love him. The believe sign. Oh, when everybody had a piece of the believe sign. Oh, that was a moment.
That was really good.
Diamond Dogs. When Roy joins.
Roof. I was like, really? Oh, Roy is so drunk. You know, now I can't stop going, whistle, whistle. And I'm like, what?
Because he wouldn't blow the whistle.
He said he was allergic to metals. And he was like, whistle. And now I'm doing it. And I'm like, Natasha, you can whistle. Just whistle.
What does that mean even? But Higgins' quote, y'all, I wrote it down.
Okay.
Human being, they were talking about perfection, and it was so funny because they were naming some perfect, you know, like perfect albums, perfect movies, and they felt like,
and then
perfection
Beard had to clarify and say
in the arts does exist, but in people it does not. So Higgins has a little quote about human beings are never going to be perfect. The best we can do is to keep asking for help and accepting it when you can, and if you keep on doing that, you'll always be moving towards better. I love that.
Come on.
It's kind of like that, Higgins. You know, I haven't arrived, but I've left. It's like, you're not ever going to arrive. Not in this life. We don't get there. But you need to have left the station and be on your way just to somewhere. And that's kind of that same sentiment to
kind of self-reflection and just his like, oh, I tried so hard to change. We all go through that when you're in the midst of change and you're looking and you're like, oh, I'm not getting where I want to be. And when in actuality, as viewers, we're watching Roy and we're like, man, you've really grown. But he couldn't see it.
Yes.
He could not see it. And so it took what Higgins was saying to kind of be like, oh, you're right.
Well, that's why you need friends. Hopefully you have friends
that's
like
why your village matters.
Yes.
So much. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you guys. And Rupert.
Girl, now did it make you sad at all?
Well, I just thought, you know, oh, how the mighty have fallen. It's kind of showing you what goes up must come down. Yes. So no matter where you are in life and what you've achieved, especially when you're not a good person, it's not going to end well.
And when he was leaving the field, so my takeaway from this scene, and I don't think it was Lisa's necessarily, because she's just looking at Rupert like, what is wrong with you? But the coach, who he had been the coach under Rupert when he owned Rebecca's team, and then he went on to be a broadcaster.
And
and so now he's coaching for Rupert again, because we all know Nate Shelley left. And Rupert goes down and he tells him, you need to get Jamie out of the game. Get him out of the game. In other words, I don't care if you hurt him. I don't care if he can never play again. Get him off the field and out of the game. That's what that means. It means to hurt that person where they're injured and they can't play anymore. And when the coach, who had been, just an asshole from the first time we ever saw him season 1 through now, when he said, no, I won't play like that. It went to show that's just Ted Lasso's whole vibe. Everyone has something redeemable if they want to. And even though he was a terrible person, he was not willing to stoop that low. Yeah. And it really, when Rupert pushed him and the dude was like, he's looking at him like, man, what is wrong with you? I felt bad for Rupert in the sense of you're not redeemable because you don't want to be. You don't want to get any better at all.
Well, that was the thing when the Diamond Dog scene where Roy was like, I'm just the same. I haven't changed. And he was so frustrated with himself. But the difference was he wanted to change.
Right.
And Rupert doesn't.
Has no desire.
He didn't want to change. He didn't want to, like, finally, maybe I can be faithful to a spouse and maybe I can, just be a different kind of person. He never wanted to change.
Do you cover my girl? Do you cover Sassy?
Cover her?
Like on was she part of your notes? Guys,
no,
everybody needs a friend like Sassy Smurf.
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand me? Sassy Smurf. Oh, Rupert.
As Sheena says, 10 toes down.
She is friend. 10 toes down. My gosh, you go through clubs like you go through wives.
Yes,
and tubes of hemorrhoid cream, I would assume.
Calling him wanker when he walked out.
Yes, so the whole stadium, and then she's like, wanker! I'm like, Sassy, come on now.
Which that was a full circle moment.
Because that's what they did to Ted.
And when Ted first got there, they were calling him wanker. Yes. And now you see they're calling Rupert wanker, which he really was.
I mean, and what was bad about that was it was the whole stadium.
Oh, yeah.
It was both teams.
And he was
his own team was.
Because he's all about that. All about appearances and about being the top dog. So that was hurtful.
But you're right.
Sure.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. Okay. Ted's halftime speech. It was so beautiful.
Did you cry?
I did.
I did too.
And I thought that's what sports
should be about.
It should. And I think for a lot of people, it is, because good coaches pour into young men and just make them be better.
And young women too.
And young women. You're right. And that's what Ted was doing. Like, we're not going to talk about the game. You got that. Mm-hmm. But I just want you to know how much you mean to me, how much I've enjoyed watching you grow. Yes. Just all the things. And ultimately, for me, Ted Lasso is a show about fatherhood.
Yes, it is.
And Ted is the show's father.
Yes.
You see him father these young men. He fathers his son. He fathers everybody, really. He is that person that speaks into you, that calls out your greatness, that doesn't judge you for your failings.
Yeah.
But calls you out of them. I mean, he's just the epitome, which I was telling Natasha, all you Succession watchers out there, Natasha doesn't watch it, so we're not going to talk about it, but sorry, guys. If you know, you know. But that's about bad fathers, ultimately. Yes. So it really is just the flip of that, seeing a good father and what it means
and
to
what
someone
it does.
And what it can do for someone. So his little speech at the end was so
it was good.
Beautiful. Okay, we've been up and down about, do Ted and Michelle get back together? If you know from the beginning, Ted always wanted Michelle.
Yes.
He let her go because she just needed
because
to
she
go.
was unhappy.
Yes, yeah. And so he did, but he didn't want to. And, he had a little maintenance with Sassy Smurf, but it wasn't a relationship. It wasn't a relationship or a real connection. It was just something to do. But he loves Michelle. So, this year we've seen Michelle be with Dr. Jake, who we can't stand because it just, who does that?
It's so unethical.
It bothers
bad. Me.
But anyway, when they were watching the game and Dr. Jake said some stuff and just an idiot, but Michelle kind of gave him a side eye. In my mind, I thought he's gone, and we don't see him again.
We do not.
So I'm reading into that he's gone. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because in my mind, Ted gets his happily ever after.
That's our hope.
Yeah. So, did we love seeing Dr. Sharon again?
Yeah, I did. Okay, and then my true blue Texas husband was like, she have on a cowboy shirt.
Did she?
It looks like one, actually. Okay. And so I had to rewind. I'm like, I'm only rewinding once. This is not about this.
I loved seeing her. And then her being so excited about the team. And she's grown too.
She's grown a lot.
She's grown too. So we love seeing her. Rebecca, y'all, buying the first class ticket just so she can get in that little area so she can hug Ted and tell him, what a great person he is and how much he means to her. That broke me down. That was the ugly cry.
When he said, did you buy a first class ticket?
Habit.
For some habits.
it was just so sweet.
I
and
agree.
The hug.
And just that she needed that hug.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was really
they became such wonderful friends.
They did.
For something that was really birthed from animosity. I mean, you have to think she hired him to tank Rupert's team. Yes. This was all to get back at Rupert.
This is not going to end well. And just in true Ted fashion.
Yeah. He made her basically like, no, we're going to be friends.
And did you guys notice that the guy that says, oh, you're Ted Lasso. Can we take a Ussie?
Yeah.
You remember he was on the flight on the way there.
Yes.
And he was the same way. You're going to be the new guy. Let's take a Ussie. Yep. And I thought, isn't that the same kid?
I thought it was cute. It was the same
kid. It was very cute. So that was a really a sweet little wink.
They had a few, like the guy who Rebecca went on the date with, who ended up with the ditzy fiance. You know, that's who got hit in the nose with the soccer ball. That's who was bleeding.
Oh,
that's him.
Oh,
and that was the
girl. That was the girl.
Okay. Yeah. So they did that. They really kind of gave everybody a chance to say goodbye because everybody and their mama popped up in this.
I just Ted and Rebecca, the goodbye. It just exuded friendship. It just on every level, and like you said, like everybody needs a friend like that. Yep. Like Ted, everybody needs a friend like Ted. Did y'all know Beard's last name when he said goodbye, Willis?
I thought
I didn't know Beard's last name.
No, I think Willis is his first name. Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not.
I mean, yeah, I meant first name. They kept because we call him Beard, but that's his Coach last
Beard.
name.
Yeah.
But
they kind of kept him, mysterious the entire. Now, funny enough, speaking of that moment, so. My husband's, we have a few minutes to watch this and his work schedule is really crazy. And I'm like, no, we're watching this on the big TV, right? We usually watch on the iPad because the kids don't watch it. I said, you all are watching it. I don't care what Roy says. You don't say those words and be quiet. This is for mommy and daddy. So they're watching it and my daughter loves Beard. And so he gets on this plane and she's like, Mommy, Beard's nervous. Because he's telling Ted, I haven't slept in 3 days because I want to talk to you about this and da-da-da. And so he throws that water on himself and Scarlett goes, here we go. And it was like she knew what was going to happen because he starts screaming and my appendix is hurting. And she's like, Mama, Beard is a hot mess. And I was like, you know what? Your 5-year-old little self has some wisdom. He really is. Girl, they drug Beard off that plane. And I was like, I love this man.
I do.
Because he was so loyal to Ted.
And his story.
Oh, man. The week
episode before we heard about...
a brick of meth.
What? Yeah, a loaf of meth.
A loaf. That's what he said, a loaf of meth.
They read about Les Mis. A loaf of bread. I thought it was a loaf of meth.
Loaf of meth. That's a lot of meth.
Oh my gosh. But his story of redemption and once again, perfect illustration of how great Ted is.
Yes.
Really, you guys, and if you've been with us for a while, we talked about our Christian faith and, kind of doing some reevaluating not Christianity, not Jesus.
No, just some of y'all folks.
Just church.
Some of y'all folks.
But really, the gospel of Ted, if you could just act like Ted in every situation, loving, forgiving, just accepting of people, not judging. Mm-hmm. He is just the perfect Christian, really, even though he never, espouses a faith or anything, but just his persona.
Yeah.
I thought, that's the question to ask.
Well, you say all the time, the church according to Ted Lasso.
Yes. Ted is from now on. I did have a lady, and she was really the only person I could think of that just so exemplified Christ to me, was just always that person of forgiving and kind,
non-judgmental,
and all the things. Just a beautiful lady. But Ted's taken her place. There's so few.
Yeah. There's
so few because, they might be okay in one area, but then they're very judgmental and they, have so many opinions and this is what I think. And like Natasha and I say all the time, sweep around your own front porch.
That's it.
I have, in my 64 years, I know I got enough stuff. I ain't got time for yours.
Listen.
I just don't.
Listen.
I don't. Do you,
That's why
boo?
people get to hooting and hollering about stuff.
I'm not judging
you
anything.
Have the time for this?
I just, yeah. Yes. So just that goldfish mentality.
Yes.
Being able to forget stuff and move on is a beautiful thing. I love that. So if you can be like Ted, wow. Yeah. What a character that Jason Sudeikis really created.
No matter what you believe in. No matter what you believe
in.
If you could just mind your own business and be kind to people.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
And
wouldn't the world be nice if there were more Teds?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Everyone's
goodness.
life was changed for the better.
Just by having
contact. Ted. And then,
him.
Kind of going back to Michelle, she had to be our villain. I would say season 1, we were team F that B.
Yeah. but I wanted to get to with the, sexy Rebecca, because Rebecca is a knockout.
Bombshell. Rebecca
gorgeous.
Can have all of my babies.
Yes. She's just gorgeous.
Listen.
She's nice.
She's nice. And she can sing. I mean, it's like,
my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
She's the whole package.
My husband was in love, and then she sang, and I was like, oh, I've lost him.
Yeah. I mean, she's so beautiful. And I was wanting them to, because they do have great chemistry.
They do. And
they do love each other. It's not,
but it's a reminder too that your friend can love you deeply. And that, I feel like that's what it was.
And be that person for you.
Yeah. But kind of going back to Michelle, yes, she had to be the enemy in the storyline because she left Ted, and we love Ted. So therefore,
like, how could you?
How could you? You're the enemy. But what's funny is when Ted displayed his anger towards his own mom, he got a taste of what Michelle was dealing with, because she told him, but I can't.
Too nice.
You're too nice all the time. And so he did grow. He grew into a level of authenticity. Now, he was always nice, and that really was who he was, but he did have to grow and become more authentic with it, where he could face certain problems. And so I do think they got back together. I'm going to agree with you. At first I was team, no, she can go crash in a ditch.
Plus,
but
getting away from stuff makes you appreciate it more.
Oh yeah, she got with Dr. Jacob, and he was working her nerves,
away from each other. She realized, I think, that Ted is really a good guy.
Yeah, he is where it's at.
And what a love that he was so willing to let her go.
Yeah,
I know this.
He wanted her to be happy.
That was in the first. I think it was the first season. And she was like,
"It was." They were divorced within the first season.
I'm not feeling it, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
And he was like, "No,
just go." But Ted, I'm gonna miss it so
much. I'm gonna miss it.
Keely, y'all. What about Keely?
Keely Jones.
Now they didn't show Keely getting with anybody.
No,
but
her focus is her baby.
Yes,
but in real life, Juno Temple,
her business.
Yes, her business is her baby. But in real life, Juno Temple, who's the actress that plays Keely Jones, she did do an interview, and she said, within the context of the interview, because it was pretty long, she did say that Roy was the only one for her, but she did feel that for Keely's character, it was important for her to grab a hold of her dreams and just ride it into the sunset at that point.
Yes,
and
it was about timing.
It was,
and then but that gave time for Roy to work on himself, which we see him, which was so cute. With Dr. Sharon. Yeah. So she's back at the team and the team counselor. So
and did you notice he had the little green man?
Yes.
From Ted. Yeah.
That's what we forgot to put in the party. I forgot about that. I did goldfish, but I forgot about the little green army people.
Yeah.
And I forgot even the significance of that. Did he tell us?
He did, but I don't recall. I don't remember. It was season 1.
I'm going to go back.
He gave him to the players.
Yes, he
did. Which
did.
means Roy held on to it
that whole time.
Yeah.
And what about Jamie Tart?
Kudos to go from being the person everyone loved to hate rightfully to being where he was at the end. I love me some Jamie.
Yes.
And I just hated Jamie.
I know. He was such an idiot, but he grew so much. Probably the most of any character.
Yes.
He really grew. And we just see them gel as a team. We see them be there for one another. We see Colin come out to them. Yes. And them embrace him in kindness and, we're there for you. I think the whole thing.
You and I talked about this, but, Isaac's reaction, my husband was like, Oh man, come on. Now Isaac is my crush, just so y'all know. So McAdoo. So he's like, oh, come on, dude. Come on, not the homophobia. And I said, no, I don't think it's that. I think he feels betrayed. We're supposed to be friends.
And that's what it was.
I'm the captain, and you couldn't tell me that.
What it was.
And so when that came out, Cedric was so happy.
Yes.
He was like, yes.
And then what Colin said so resonated when he was like, yes, I thought 99% you would be cool with it. But I was terrified of the 1%. He just didn't want to lose a friend. And I could totally relate to that.
Yes.
And understood. But that was beautiful. Just the whole thing, y'all. And Rebecca with the psychic, and you're going to be a mom and meet somebody. Oh my gosh. The guy was as drop dead cute as she is gorgeous to me.
Well, nah, she's prettier. But he was very handsome.
Very handsome and just swag.
Yeah.
What he did, he missed in looks, he made up for in swag.
Oh yeah, and just who he was.
You don't want a guy prettier than you.
Oh, definitely.
Nobody does.
Absolutely.
So we don't want that for Rebecca. He's got to be a little bit less, little bit.
Yes.
So we loved it, and we highly recommend, and want y'all to watch it. Please hit us up.
We want to know your thoughts.
Oh, by the way,
I didn't cry. Look at me.
BTW. You guys, please leave us reviews
on
either Apple or
wherever
Spotify,
you're listening.
Wherever you listen.
Yeah.
We would love that. Be nice.
No joke.
Be nice. If you can't say anything nice,
don't say anything at all.
Don't say anything at all. But if you can say something nice, we would love a great review from y'all.
Yes. Yeah. My gosh, I didn't cry. I'm so proud.
I know. Up next, our picks for the sexiest man alive this week. But first, a message from our sponsor.
During hard times, it can get really difficult if you don't have anyone to talk to. Being alone with your thoughts can be an isolating feeling that can allow negativity to consume you.
This is why we are sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that may not be available in your area. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with the therapist in under 48 hours.
Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime.
Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. So many people use BetterHelp that they are currently recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states.
Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/free-for-coffee. That's betterhelp.com/free-for-coffee.
Okay. In the context of the show, I simply had to pick a character from Ted Lasso because I'm so sad that this time next year, this won't be a thing. You know what I mean? There won't be another season.
There were so many picks.
There were.
There's a lot of cute guys.
You know, I've picked Nate. I've picked Ted. I've picked Beard. We've picked Rupert.
Roy.
Well, of course. But so this time I'm picking someone different. Do you know who yours is?
Yes. Okay. Mine is Rebecca's new love. Who is, I'm going to butcher his name, but I think it's Matteo Vandergren. I think that's how you pronounce it, but we'll spell it on the Instagram
on our post. You'll see it. Yeah.
But you remember he was lightning.
He was
really cute, and they had a
and how they ended up together at the end
with the little.
So
girl.
Guys, I'm nursing watching this, right? Because I mean it was an hour and 15 minutes. So by the time I'm nursing, the kids are still laughing at Beard and the little girl's running, and I'm like, oh, how darling. Like, it was just something about it was so precious. When Rebecca looked up and saw him, I about threw that baby off my titty. I said, yes, yes. So, and Ellie's looking up at me. She's like, Mom, you okay?
And
so all the kids are looking at me, and Cedric's like, It happened. I told you he had to come back.
I thought he was going to be in last week, or was it last week or week before when they had the meeting with all the owners,
yeah.
And she walks in. I thought, watch him be.
He's going to be one of these owners.
He's going to be one of the guys, but he wasn't. So I was so happy, and he looked amazing in the uniform.
Yes, he did.
We saw him on the houseboat in jeans, and he was cute then. But that uniform did something for me.
Yes,
did it?
It did. And so I was like, okay, well, my sexiest man alive this week, I will also butcher your name, but it is Kola Bokini, and that is Isaac McAdoo.
Oh, he is so cute.
He is so cute. When he would be on his little throne, they do the little throne.
Yes,
it tickled. As a judge, as Santa Claus.
Remember at the beginning, he used to do haircuts.
He used to do the haircuts.
He's grown too.
He has.
And he was a really great team captain.
He was.
He was good at getting them to gel and come together, and his leadership of them was so awesome.
Yes.
And he was a great character.
And he was great eye candy. So that's going to be my vote.
A little of that.
Okay, loves. Thank you for pulling up a chair and joining us for coffee. Please subscribe to Are You Free for Coffee wherever you are listening. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode and find joy in the little things. Until next time.
Part of the Boundless Audio Podcast Network.